Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is me, OC Steve. Took a break for a minute, just regrouping and talking about some geek news that happened over this lovely week of June. So let's get into it. We had a bunch of teasers drop throughout the course of the week. One of them was for season 2 of Picard, aka Picard. They dropped a 1-minute teaser trailer, kind of giving you a synopsis of what's going to go on in season 2. Essentially, here's the little teaser poster, but the major conflict or plot device or MacGuffin of whatever you want to call it is the interdimensional demigod known as Q is coming on back to mess with Picard later in his elderly years, if you will, because based on the events of season 1, spoilers aside, Picard dies, but is put into a robotic body that is literally identical. They don't give him any of the perks of strength, endurance, speed, anything like that. They literally made a carbon copy of his old elderly body and just stuck him into this new cybernetic organism body, if you will. The other thing is he just doesn't have a heart issue that he had from getting into a bar fight when he was younger, if you followed the Next Generation series. This was kind of a funky series in general because both my wife and I watched it, my wife being more of a Next Generation fan and enjoying Jean-Luc Picard. He was always kind of a hard sell for me as a captain. Just Star Trek in general is a hard sell for me. I lean more towards the Star Wars way. But it seems like this series lost its way throughout the creative development and its process in season 1. It went for edgy, extreme kind of shock value. It had a bunch of profanity, which obviously back in the day in the late 80s / early 90s, it was pretty much TV PG. They didn't really do anything really profane. They kind of had a little couple shock moments here and there, but not anything grotesque like what happened in Picard. The emphasis was about the Borg and cybernetic organisms. They had some really kind of almost Eli Roth grotesque scenes where they were removing an eye, just F-bombs left and right, excessive drug use with one of the characters, which is called Raffi. The only Raffi that I will personally recognize is Jason Mantzoukas' character from the League, because if I'm going for a raunchy Raffi, I'd rather have that Raffi than the Raffi that was in Picard, that is kind of an absentee mother and chronic drug addict. So apparently this comes out on Paramount Plus in 2022. I would assume probably later this year in the summer. They have the big Star Trek convention in Vegas, so they'll cover more territory with that as it goes. But I haven't really been impressed by Picard. I've had friends who have watched Discovery that are bigger Star Trek fans than my wife that regret even watching it in the first place because it's kind of their way of retconning and retelling the Star Trek universe through a more different kind of perspective. AKA when you don't know the lore, it's just easier to reboot the whole damn thing and start from point 1. And that's essentially what they're doing with Discovery, with Spock having a long lost kind of surrogate humanoid sister who's the main protagonist of that show. I don't know. I don't care. Not my cup of tea, not my thing. Something that is my thing, though, is that we got a trailer for season 3 of Titans. In season 2, it was very Raven and Superboy Connor Kent kind of focused. They focused on her conflict with her dad, Trigon, in the beginning. And then throughout, kind of an underlying storyline was Connor Kent trying to break free from Cadmus. So I would assume with season 3, we did see a quick trailer. It's going to be about Starfire's sister, and that whole eternal conflict with her royal family is probably a subplot of the storyline. But the big thing that comes across is that we got them in their regular kind of more superhero-esque suits. Starfire is obviously wearing a suit that's more kind of based on her alien culture. You have, Dick Grayson finally embracing the mantle at the end of season 2 and becoming Nightwing. But another storyline I'm looking forward to is the development of the Red Hood. Jason Todd was a character that was kind of brought in. He's kind of been on the outskirts with the Titans, doesn't necessarily agree with him. He very much like his comic book counterpart, leans into violence heavily and brutality and physicality, and that kind of got him on the outskirts of, with Batman respectively, trying to bring him in as the second pseudo Robin, as Dick decided to, advocate the title of Robin. And then more importantly, even within the core unit of the Titans, he's too hardcore for them. So you see him actually going to investigate his own crime on his own, kind of doing his own thing, kind of setting his own path. And he definitely comes across somebody who's familiar with the Batman Death in the Family storyline, which they don't flat out say it's the Joker, but we all know it's the Joker. Based on this image right here, Jason's getting bludgeoned by a crowbar. It doesn't end well for Jason. He's almost left on death's doorstep. And depending on which continuity you follow and which way they've retconned Jason's origin, he does come back as an anti-hero known as the Red Hood. This was originally Joker's kind of initial persona before he was kicked into a vat of acid at Ace Chemicals, got disfigured, and became the Crown Prince of Crime. So if you're looking at getting a little bit familiar with Jason Todd, one of the things that I will always mention is DC has exceptional animated films. So I would recommend this bad boy right here. Batman Underneath the Red Hood. High, good octane action. You get to find out more about the storyline. It follows the comic book pretty much as close as you can. You get to get introduced to some newer villains like Black Mask. They do a great job of John DiMaggio is the voice of the Joker in this. So if you want to get a little bit familiar, get an idea of the vibe of Red Hood before going into season 3 in Titans and seeing that transformation, I would say check that out. I believe that's on HBO Max right now as we speak. This series will be starting mid-August, August 12th. So pay attention to that. They'll probably be releasing it on a weekly schedule, very similar to the Marvel Universe and whatnot. But I've been enjoying Titans. It's, kind of DC adjacent. It picks pieces and edits it for the way that they deem fit, but still has that Titans vibe, if you will. I enjoyed also the Deathstroke storyline that was in last season as well in season 2. But next week, June 23rd, this upcoming Comic Book Wednesday, the Todd Father, Todd McFarlane himself, is going to be debuting Spawn's universe. This is his chance to create a continuity in an extended universe full of different Spawn heroes, new villains, new storylines. He's creating his own Avengers team, kind of a ragtag group of kind of these Hellspawn heroes and villains colliding together for a common goal and good, if you will, and that's going to be called the Scorch. But this is the launching point that happens this upcoming Wednesday. This is the first issue. It's going to be a massive comic book because it's going to have all the different individual stories of Gunslinger Spawn, She Spawn, Pirate Spawn, Medieval Spawn, Raven Spawn, Spawn Al Simmons himself, all the different events that are going to be happening in this universe that Todd is creating moving forward. This is going to be a great launching point if you want to try something different. If you're tired of DC, you're tired of Marvel, and you want to taste something new, I'd say pick up this book this Wednesday. You can either get it digitally or you can go to your comic book shop and pick it up this upcoming Wednesday. If you're a Spawn fan, you're already in the know, and I don't need to tell you that this is going to be a lot of fun. But he's doing a lot of cross-platform marketing and preparation for this big event. One of the things that if you're a fan of Todd McFarlane's toy division is we got this announcement that some of the characters from Spawn's universe are going to be in the original batch 1 of figures that are coming out. So it's going to be these 5 figures. You kind of have Raven Spawn over here. You have Gunslinger Spawn. You have the Clown. You have Violator. And you kind of have this Archangel Spawn character too. That's going to be initial wave 1. He said there'll be a secondary wave that'll have 3 characters. This Violator is huge. On average, Todd's toys are about 7 inches in scale. Violator is going to be 12. He is a big boy. He's going to come in some bigger packaging. And this weekend, Todd's been kind of teasing here, there, and everywhere. He started with kind of Batman 1966 Adam West figures, showed Robin, showed the Batmobile and the Batcave. And today, which when I'm filming this on Sunday, June 20th, he started teasing some of the Spawn toys that'll be available for pre-order. So I'm looking forward to that. Another announcement that came last week, though, in the Spawn universe was that these 2 guys here, the 2 main detectives in Rat City, Sam and Twitch, are getting a television treatment. I enjoy this. I enjoyed these 2 characters. You can get familiar with Sam and Twitch by watching the Spawn animated series on HBO Max. They kind of play like the Boondock Saints. They're picking up the pieces and trying to figure out what happened from a crime scene that's been left in Spawn's wake. So these characters are really great. I've read some of the other comic books that are just Sam and Twitch centric. They cover kind of your X-Files vibe, your kind of procedural police stories, and everything that goes on in between, and all the other events that either bump in the night or just your, day in, day out criminal element. in Rat City is covered by Sam and Twitch. I know there's a lot of people that are very skeptical about this series getting produced, and they're kind of concerned that this is kind of the nail in the coffin for the Spawn movie, because Todd has been very, very concerned and controlling about, one, that he wants to direct the movie, and, you know, he'd be a first-time director. So I get that there's a lot of studios that are reluctant to give somebody who is the creator of Spawn visually, conceptually, the reins to go make a movie. So that's still in the process. I don't think that anything's being taken away. I think that this is a great point. Just, we have a Flash on the silver screen. We have a Flash on TV. You're going to have your Sam and Twitch on TV, and you'll have a different iteration of probably Sam and Twitch in the theaters. I think it's going to be fine. If anything, it's getting more Spawn out there to get people exposed to this material that'll help create a groundswell when he finally decides to launch the movie and he finally finds a studio that's willing to back him. So I know there's been YouTube channels that have been kind of popping shots and kind of, criticizing Todd for his actions, that, he keeps his cards very close to his chest and he controls his property. But if this is your baby, this is the thing that has given you the opportunities that you've had to advance as a toy company and as a publisher. I get that you want to make sure that you're cautious and you're conservative with your actions moving forward. I know there is a lot of people that had complaints about the Kickstarter campaign. I showed that as a video. I'll probably do a link to that at the end of this, for that Spawn figurine. Things happen in a pandemic world. Those toys came from China. Then they were distributed here locally throughout the United States, internationally. A lot of things and curveballs happened with the beer bug that we could never foresee and control. So if you didn't get your Spawn figurine, I hope it didn't make you jaded about the material. I've always enjoyed Spawn. I grew up as a kid of the 90s. This was an edgy, unique, different cartoon. It addressed some serious issues between gang violence, drugs. There was even Spawn in the first few issues killing a sexual predator of young children, that Billy guy running around in his ice cream truck. Al Simmons gave him what he deserved. And I think that set the tone moving forward, that this was not going to be Batman, that this was not going to be Spider-Man, that Spawn was a character hidden in the shadows and was willing to do what was necessary to get the job done. That's what I've always enjoyed about it. I've enjoyed the character of Al Simmons. Obviously, he's lasted the test of time and now is over 320-something issues. And now he's finally getting his due with this shared universe. It's going to be a secondary launching point in my mind for Spawn, to create new characters, to create new opportunities, to bring up new and rising artists. Like one of the guys that took the reins after Todd wanted to take a backseat was Greg Capullo. He did a long run on Spawn that would lead him to go to DC Comics and be the new face of creating Batman for moving forward. So I have nothing but love for Spawn. And in closing, since I am Comicsgate, I do want to highlight a campaign that I will be reviewing. I'm just waiting for it to come in the mail. It is Eddie D. Winkler's Sovereign Wolf Clandestiny campaign. I've heard nothing but good things from this. I've seen a lot of people receive his box. The box art on it's exceptional. It's a huge graphic novel. It's over 120-something pages for $25 with the artwork and the creative talent that he has behind this book. You cannot go wrong. I picked this campaign, The Bad Moon Rising, for $25. You get a metal card, you get a 6x9 print, you get this massive book, and you get a couple cards designed right there. So I'm looking forward to diving into this deeply, reading the book, kind of getting familiar with his characters. Nothing but good news and good reviews I've heard from fellow comic book co-creators in Comicsgate. John Malin lent some of his artistic talents. I know that he's been getting nothing but high praise. So I'm looking forward to reading Mr. Winkler's Sovereign Wolf and providing a review when that comes later this week. But another thing I'm going to be doing too, in conjunction with my friends Joe M. Sontag, is we're going to be doing a deep dive of Dale Keown's Pit, another kind of secondary Image title that he did. If you're not familiar with Dale Keown, you will. I'm going to be kind of coming from it as a novice. I bought the entire series, and we're going to be doing a deep dive, issue by issue, breaking it down. I'm going to be breaking it down as from the reader's perspective. Joe and his cast of characters that'll be on the channel are going to be picking apart the art, discussing more of the finer prose of Dale Keown. This is a guy that I would highly recommend getting familiar with, because he's going to be pivotal and a big MVP in Comicsgate going forward. I'm glad that Ethan was able to get a hold of him, and he's going to be helping out with Cyberfrog and lending his artistic talents moving forward. So that's kind of the geek news that I got for now. Just kind of wanted to get back on the horse, so to speak, kind of share my thoughts and opinions. So check out Spawn Universe this upcoming Wednesday. It's June 23rd. That's when it's happening. If that doesn't get you into a comic book store or buying it online, I don't know what will. It's one of these few things that I'm actually excited for. It's few and far between in the comic book industry. I know that I had a scathing little criticism about the X-Men Hellfire Gala, but this isn't a dinner party. This is something new. This is a new renaissance. Todd is coming into his second age and giving us a lot of fun with Image, a lot of fun with Spawn. So I'd say buy the ticket, take the ride, have a good time. So let's keep the comments going in the discussion below. Let me know what you're looking forward to out of all the stuff that I mentioned between Picard, Titans, and Spawn. Like, share, subscribe, do the whole nine. I appreciate you guys taking your time to watch this video, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.